looks of concentration. The whistle goes. It's the start of a brand new season. And it's that first big fight for the first entry into the hill. You can see Jens Adams in the white jersey's done really well, but it's Lars van der Aard in the red helmet there who wins it alongside Adams. They splash into the mud. Across the grid they go, up the hill, and here we go. A big fight for position and the first big effort of many. Already riders off their bike, riders down behind them. It is chaos, Jeremy. Van der Aard, who won that sort of position with Jens Adams, is down behind Eliezer a bit now. And further down as the many Paul Sulzen jerseys are ended with Ryan Camp, the last in a long line. 2.5 minutes into the race on our next climb. And for those who don't know this course, tell us a little bit about it, Jeremy.
Yeah, this track is, you know, traditionally it can be very, very fast, but it's become known for its steep embankments, and that's nothing different here today. Lots of off-camber, very much a technical track. I wouldn't say it's very wide open. Something like Tabor in the Czech Republic tends to be very wide open, Rob, very, you know, not a little less technical. This track, oh, when you see a rider from Paul Sulzen all down right there with a big tumble for number 8, I believe it is.
That's Ryan Camp, who's down, the rider we were just talking about a moment ago, who's the last in the line of the riders from Paul Sulzen's. He's still not remounted on his bike. Here he goes. He's lost a number of positions there as number 21's off. 21 is Victor van der Putte. It looks as though coming off that little cobbled section on... Looking down, yet to really see a clear image on the screen as we come to the end of lap 1. 7 minutes 10 for Adamson van Turenhout with a 2-second lead. Van der Putte coming around the outside there as you see Tesaerts down in 10th place. Here is Adams. And a good move from Swick, and a lot of riders just making an opportunity to make that effort through the start-finish straight on the better surface and get themselves back onto the wheel and form a group at the front, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Jens Adams there ride that first section, and now Michael van Tornhout trying to come over to take over the pace setting here. And there's a new dynamic in the front group, right, Rob? Without Laurent Sweck on the Paul Sulzen bingo team, it adds a different jersey into the mix here in the front, and that's foot down, everybody with a foot down there to try to get up to that high line to be able to drop into this and not get taken out. But oof, Sweck down, forced down low, has to go wide there, put a foot down to come around into the barriers. But Michael van Tornhout jumping, Eastervid jumping, Jens Adams jumping, everybody jumping except for Sweck now.
So on this, Sweck back at the front with his former teammate van Turenhout. Puts the pressure on the pedals as Isabit was the only man running through that entire section, just as we saw Sanne Kant doing in the women's race. So end of lap 2. And just 1 second gap between the top 5. Then you've got the next group led by the European champion Lars van der Aard, Van den Bosch, Lox, Tesaerts and Van der Putte. Top 10 still separated by just a handful of seconds. We're almost 15 minutes into the race, and it's turning into a real cracker. A mud. Just that confirmation that we're going to have an 8-lap race. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, that's okay. Yeah, and they will run the race long, I think, because they see such a big front group, so they'll run it a little bit longer than they maybe would. But now it's Eastervid on the front. But Sweck, I was just going to say, he does look very good here today, and he's really got he seems to have a good rhythm on the track. I think he's just riding well. But Eastervid now looks back to see on that off-camber section where maybe he felt confident in his bike handling. He's just kind of continued to push the pace a little bit. And
there ain't too much drafting going on here as we're 28.5 minutes into the race. We are halfway through the race. We have one leader. He's the man who won in Namur on the World Cup last year, one of the best events on the calendar. It's Michael van Turenhout. He's up ahead now of Laurens Sweck, his former teammate, 8 seconds to his current teammate Eli Itterwit, and then you have a further 4 seconds to Lars van der Aard, former multiple Dutch champion and the reigning European champion, before we look back to Van der Putte and Van den Bosch and company. The gap's really starting to grow now, and we've got a pattern established in this race. Van der Putte.
I had Van Tornhout there just at 10 seconds, so let's see what the gap is when he comes now through when Sweck makes this turn. So it's 10 seconds now, and it'll just be clawing up just a little bit. So it's still right around 15 seconds, but it is still, like I said, you know, still in sight. So 15, 17 seconds there for Michael van Tornhout. No bike exchange, and yeah, these other riders will be just coming into the frame now as Michael Van Tornhout really continues to try to just, yeah, thread the needle here, you know, between going as fast as he can and not crashing. He may be employing some of those new lines that he's testing out. You saw him take that inside line on the run up, and then on that big off camber sector, he's braked early and went high line when everyone else was low. But by staying in fourth spot, Van der Haar is able to test these lines out without giving anything away to the riders that he's dueling with here for second and third spot. So Van der Haar definitely got his eye on the podium.
He's never been on the podium in this race as well. It's one of the events he's not been in the top 3 of. Now then, I think most riders are going to follow the leader into the pits here. We have second, third, fourth, all the top 4 riders into the pits. It's Van der Haar with the quick bike change. But actually, there'll be 2 to go here, pardon me. There'll be 2 to go here. This will be lap 7 of 8 coming up.
You're right. I apologize. That's why we have that's why we have you, Rob, because I'm off my game. Sorry, everyone. 2 to go.
Talking me up far too much there. It's the first day of the season, mate. It's the first day of the season. So 2 laps to go for Van Tornhout, but he's looking good, and that clock is still ticking. Remember, it was 15 seconds the last time through, wasn't it? It's going to be quite that much bigger now, and we're going to get the time check. So they hold the board up, 2 laps to go. 24 seconds. He's put 9 seconds into him on that lap alone. And he's opening this gap now to Sweck. Sweck himself has opened a little gap to Van der Haar and is starting to come over in ones. No groups anymore on this course. Is this gap going to be big enough to stick once they come through the pits and towards the start-finish line again? Well, we're about to find out. Van Tornhout is approaching that final bit once more. His gap, I think, now will be approaching half a minute. This time he'll come through, back onto the concrete. He'll see the finish line. The bell will start to ring. Michael Van Tornhout hoping to take victory here just as he did 6 years ago. He was the first winner of this event, the Polderscross in Kröbecker. And he has 1 lap to finish off the job. And let's get a check on what his gap is to his teammate Iserbit, who looks to have been riding particularly well on that 7th of 8 laps. He's all alone. The gap to Iserbit will have been reduced a little bit. There it is, there's confirmation. It's 23 seconds, was around 27. But to everybody else, it's been increased. So for the team, it's very good news. The team is going to take the win here, Paul Bingo. 38 seconds now down to Sweck. Van der Haar at 41. And into the final minutes of the opening cross race of this 2022-2023 season. We've had weather like it's been the middle of winter. Proper cross to begin a very big season. We hope this year that we have full crowds all the way through the winter. We do it be the first time since, well, I think the 2018-2019 season. It was towards the end of the 2020 season, 2019-2020, that things started to change. For most of these events, then you've had to operate behind closed doors in the last few years. This event couldn't operate last year. Let's hope we get the fervour, the fans, the frites and the beer back all winter long. The entertainment will still be there, and it started off in brilliant, brilliant fashion with Van Tornhout riding away now with around half a lap to go. Paul and Bingo have done the job. There might have been changes in the lineup, but it's their old Mr. Dependable, Michael Van Tornhout, who does the job. Van Tornhout wins in Kröbecker on a muddy, classic Cyclocross day. It's Van Tornhout who wins ahead of his teammate. And here comes Elias a bit. Confirmation of the 1-2. A solid way to start for one of the best crossers of the last decade. Iserbit takes second. And this should be Laurens Sweck, the former teammate. He's in different colours now, but the former Belgian champion ends day 1 on the podium. A 4th place for Lars van der Haar, and Jeremy Powers, we have seen one classic cyclocross race as early as mid-September.